Hi, my name is Steve Rotz, and I'm a choral music teacher and a music theory instructor at Woodward Academy in Atlanta. I'd like to show you how I take attendance. A class of 65 middle school girls is about to enter this room, and I'm going to know exactly who is present the moment they enter the room. The centerpiece of the system is an iPad or iPhone app called Attendance2, and with this app, we scan their course binder as they enter the room. What you're watching here sped up in real time takes about 5 minutes, which is the time allotted as the students transition between their classes. I want to make sure I mention that I first read about the Attendance2 app in an article by Barbara Retzko in the publication Core Teach, and there's a link to that article in the About box below. Now, if you want to print QR codes and cut them apart with scissors and possibly tape them to whatever you are going to give to the students, then you definitely do not need this video. This video is mainly about how to do a mail merge with the QR codes. So if you want to use scissors, you can watch the helpful video that the app's programmer, David Reed, has on his website. And his website is dave256apps.com/attendance2. He is a computer science professor and has really packed a lot of power into this app. I definitely did not want to break out the scissors, especially since I already print each student a folder cover. So I took it one step further. I merged the QR code with the folder cover. What I am going to show you requires the following ingredients: your class roster, the Attendance2 iPad app, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Dropbox, and the Attendance2 template.xls spreadsheet file that you can download to save you from typing some lengthy spreadsheet formulas. There's a link in the About box below that will provide this template to you. We are going to make all these technologies play nicely together, and while most of the things on this list are self-explanatory, let me say a few words about the roster. If you have large classes, you will definitely want to avoid typing each student's name into a document, as that takes a lot of time and invites human error. If you do not already have your students' names in a spreadsheet, I have a few suggestions for you. See if your gradebook program allows you to export student information. For systems that use GradeQuick, there is a custom export feature you could use if that module is enabled. At my school, it is not. If your school uses Edline, you can go to the Send Messages page and copy the info that appears. When you paste it into a spreadsheet, it will be a little messy, but you can clean it up without too much trouble. Additionally, you can humbly ask your registrar or office secretary if their system can export your role to a spreadsheet. If the school system contains their preferred name, I would recommend that you export their preferred name in place of their first name. Whatever the method, you need the roster as a spreadsheet. Now let's take a look at one of those rosters. Here we have our roster for the purposes of this demonstration, and there are 100 randomly generated names on this list. I do want to point out there is one student in this list with a compound first name, Jeannie Ann Cook. And because she has a compound first name, we're going to have to give her special attention as we treat this roster and get it ready to import. So if your data looks like this, with the first name and the last name in the same column, we need to split that into 2 columns before we go on to the next step. That's very easy to do. You can select the whole column, and then on the Data tab, there's a tool called Text to Columns. Click that. Next. Next. And finish. Now we have the names in separate columns for first and last name. You'll notice that when it came to Jeannie Ann Cook, it separated the first and the second part of her first name. So we do need to fix that. Make it Jeannie Ann. And now you would be ready to go on. If your data looks like this, with last name, comma, first name, you have a very similar task. Select the whole column, text to columns, next, but make sure that comma is checked as a delimiter. Click next and finish. And now you have the names separated into two columns. Jeannie Ann, once again, we need to give special attention to because of the compound first name. And now you would be ready to import this list of student names into the template spreadsheet. You now need to add your class to the Attendance2 iPad app. Click the plus sign in the upper left of the screen and type the name of your class. Type carefully, as in a minute you will need to type it identically in Excel. In our example, we are going to call the choir Varsity Singers. Tap the Add button and we've now added the class. We also need to tap on Link with Dropbox. Once the app links with your Dropbox account, it will create some folders inside your Dropbox folder. I've created a file to help us titled Attendance2Template.xls. This file needs to be downloaded to the Attendance2 folder. If you've already downloaded it, you will need to move it to this folder. It must be in the correct spot for the magic to work. Back in your roster, you are ready to copy and paste the names, but if you haven't already alphabetized the names, you may want to do so now. You can select all, Command A, and sort, and you would sort them by whatever column has their last name. In this case, it's column B that has their last name, and it has now been sorted. You need to select the names. So let's select all 100 of these names. We're going to copy and go to template.xls, Attendance2Template.xls. Okay, we are ready to paste the names into the template file. And so we're going to come down here and we're going to paste. Command V. Make sure that you have pasted into the correct columns, first name, last name. Don't reverse that. You may need to paste each column separately. Now when we pasted this Jack Arnold, you'll see that that popped up over here, and we're about to change this again when we assign it the unique ID number. The Attendance2 app requires that each student have a unique identifier number, and it will assign it for you, or you can assign the number in advance, and that's what I would like for you to do for the purposes of this process. So I'm going to start with the number 8001. It pops up over here. And I assign folder numbers to my kids. That's helpful to me when I do the merge. So I'm going to start with folder number 1 for this class. And we need to give it the class name. It needs to match what we typed on the iPad for the class name, which was Varsity Singers. Okay, in this path, this is very important. It's kind of a confusing formula, but when we do the mail merge in Microsoft Word, it needs to know exactly where to look for each picture and what that picture is named. And so this is very, very important. Now we can select these three cells, get the grab handle right there, drag it down. So we have copied that down, filled it down. And now we're going to select C through G right here. And we are going to pull this down all the way down to row 101. If we have 100 students, there it is. And now we have their unique identifier number, which has automatically appeared with our formula, as well as the folder number and the QR file name is what the app will name the picture file, and the path. So that's going to be really, really helpful to us. Save this, or you can do a save as if you prefer. Let's save this, and we're going to call it Varsity Singers. And we also need to export it as a CSV file, comma separated values file. So we're going to select that. We're also going to call it Varsity Singers, and we're going to save it. Be sure that you are saving it in this Attendance2 folder, which is inside Apps, which is inside your Dropbox folder. This is a folder that the app can see and access. And click Continue. Now, if you are a Windows user, you have some extra things to do before you save and export the spreadsheet. Here we are in the Windows version of Excel. You will notice that the formula in column G now produces backslashes instead of colons to separate folders. But there are 2 colons remaining. Replace these 2 colons in the formula with backslashes. Now use the grab handle to copy the tweaked formula down to the bottom of the records. Now you can see that we have a Windows-style path using backslashes. However, in order to use the QR codes as part of a mail merge, Microsoft Word expects double backslashes instead of single backslashes. To accomplish this, select and copy column G, then paste it back in place, but use Excel's Paste Values function. This replaces the formula with the text. Now use the Replace feature to change every single backslash to a double backslash. Now you are ready to save your spreadsheet and give it a name. We are using Varsity Singers. Remember that you will also need to save the spreadsheet as a CSV file, comma separated values file, inside the Attendance2 folder so that the app can find it. Back on the iPad, you will need to tap on Varsity Singers and then import/update from Dropbox. We are going to import varsitysingers.csv. You can now see the first several records. Tap on first line and then begin to tell the app how to import the data. Tap on first name, which was the header in our spreadsheet, and match that to the app's first name field. Similarly, pair the last name column from our spreadsheet with the app's last name field, and pair our unique ID column with the app's identifier field. The other columns do not need to be imported into the app, so go ahead and tap on Import. Since our spreadsheet's first row contains column headings, we can tap on Skip First Line. The app imports the data. Tap on Save. We now have 100 people enrolled in our class. Scroll down and select Create QR Codes. The app gets busy creating and uploading the PNG files. When the app has finished generating the QR codes and uploading them, your computer will in turn download them, and in the Attendance2 folder, you will have a folder called QR Codes, and inside that is a folder with the name of your class, and here are the 100 QR codes for our class. And if you want to see what one of those looks like, you can just take a look. You are now ready to create a Microsoft Word file that will contain anything in addition to the data from the spreadsheet. I like to have the folder number on there, and I like to have a few graphics files that will print on every page. Now, to create the merge, you will need to select the Mail Merge Manager tool. If it's not already visible, you'll have to go to Tools, Mail Merge Manager. You'll click on Create New Form Letter, Get List, Open Data Source. And if you recall, we saved a file in the Attendance2 folder called Varsity Singers. That was from my template after you added your roster. We're going to open that file and click OK. And OK again. Now we have these fields that come from the column headings of the spreadsheet. I want the folder number on mine, and I want a space there. I also want the class name opposite that. Okay, I'll separate that with a tab. And on the next row, I want their name. So I'm going to drag first name and last name. I need a space between those two. I want that centered and large, maybe even larger, maybe. Okay, now you can preview the results, and it looks like the Varsity Singers, the class name, is a little further to the left than I would like. I'm going to tab it over, and I can see that folder number 1 is Jack Arnold. If I tab over here with the next record, if I click here, I can see Tracy Barton is 2, Randolph Bass is 3, etc. Now it's important that you save this. Go Save As, and you can save this wherever you like. Folder covers. It is important, however, that you save it as the older format .doc, not docx. It will not process the merged picture files properly if you save it as the newer format. So be sure to save it as .doc. Okay, now here's where it gets a little interesting. We are going to come to the Insert menu and select Field. Click on Links and References and then Include Picture. We're going to add 2 quotation marks, but between those 2 quotation marks, we are going to paste the path of the first picture. So we need to come back here to our Varsity Singers document, and we're going to copy that first path. We'll come back here and we will paste it with Command V and click OK. Now we have the QR code. It looks good, except that my keyboard got pushed a little too low, so I don't know what the easiest way will be to fix that. Word sometimes does some funny things with layouts, but maybe we can get it to cooperate. Maybe. Okay, that looks pretty good. I've got everything on one page and I have an image. Now you'll notice if I go to the next record, the name and the folder number are updating, but the QR code is not updating. We are not done just yet. Okay, we are going to click here at the View All Placeholders button, and that lets us see a bunch of the merge codes. And we are particularly interested in this code here. We're going to select the path in between these quotation marks, and we don't want the whole thing. There we go, Macintosh, all the way down to the PNG file, and we are actually going to delete that now. We used that to set up the right format. We're going to delete, and in its place we are going to drag path right in between the quotation marks. Okay. We can now come off of that, and we are going to merge this to a new document. So right here, merge to new document, and let's see if it worked. You can see that Word is doing some work there. Jack Arnold's number 1, Tracy Barton's 2. You'll notice that all of the pages currently have the same QR code. There's one more trick to fix that. We can select everything, and we need to update field. So on the Mac, the shortcut for that is Command Option Shift U. Now let's take a look. If we scroll down, Tracy Barton, Tracy Barton. Randolph Bass, Randolph Bass. And we are done. We are ready to print these, and then the students will be ready to check in with us. And it's a lot of setup and thought ahead of time on our part, but it makes attendance just so much easier. I hope you found this tutorial to be helpful. Thanks for watching.